Thomas Williams, Myths and Legends of the Celtic Race. Celtic Myths and Legends is its title here. Oh, I guess that title was used during his life. The past may be forgotten, but it never dies. The elements which, in the most remote times, have entered into a nation's composition, endure through all its history, and help to mold that history, and to stamp the character and genius of the people. The examination, therefore, of these elements, and the recognition, as far as possible, of the part they have actually contributed to the warp and weft of a nation's life, must be a matter of no small interest and importance to those who realize that the present is the child of the past, and the future of the present, who will not regard themselves, their kinsfolk, and their fellow citizens as mere transitory phantoms hurrying from darkness into darkness, but who know that in them a vast historic stream of a national life is passing from its distant and mysterious origin towards a future which is largely conditioned by all the past wanderings of that human stream, but which is also in no small degree what they, by their courage, their patriotism, their knowledge, and their understanding, choose to make it. The part played by the Celtic race as a formative influence in the history, the literature, and the art of the people inhabiting the British Islands, a people which, from that center, has spread its dominions over so vast an area of the earth's surface, has been unduly obscured in popular thought. For this, the current use of the term Anglo-Saxon applied to the British people as a designation of race is largely responsible. Historically, the term is quite misleading. There is nothing to justify the singling out of the two Low German tribes when we wish to indicate the race character of the British people. The Darwinian division that one saw later of the 54 races, that doesn't quite make sense. We'd have to go by genomes, or we'd have to go by the 19 race theory or something, but one gets the points. The entirety of Northwestern Europe is really one race. The use of it leads to such absurdities as to that which the writer noticed not long ago, when the proposed elevation by the Pope of an Irish bishop to a cardinalate was described in an English newspaper as being promoted by the desire of the head of the Catholic Church to pay a compliment to the Anglo-Saxon race, the true term for the population of these islands, and for the typical and dominant part of the population of North America, is not Anglo-Saxon, but Anglo-Celtic. It is precisely in this blend of Germanic and Celtic elements that the British people are unique. It is precisely this blend which gives to this people the fire, the elan, and in literature and art, the sense of style, color, drama, which are not common growths of German soil, while at the same time it gives the deliberateness and depth, the reverence for the ancient law and custom, and the passion for personal freedom, which are more or less strange to the Romance nations of the south of Europe. May they never become strange to the British Islands. Nor is the Celtic element in these islands to be regarded as contributed wholly, or even very predominantly, by the populations of the so-called Celtic fringe, it is now well known to ethnologists that the Saxons did not by any means exterminate the Celtic or Celtic-sized populations whom they found in possession of Great Britain. Mr. E. W. B. Nicholson, librarian of the Bodleian Rites, in his important work, Celtic Researches, 1904, names which have not been purposely invented to describe race must never be taken as proof of race, but only as proof of community of language or community of political organizations. We call a man who speaks English, lives in England, and hears an obviously English name, such as Freeman or Newton, an Englishman, yet from the statistics of relative negrescence, there is a good reason to believe that Lancashire, West Yorkshire, Staffordshire, Worcestershire, Warwickshire, Leicestershire, Rutland, Cambridgeshire, Wiltshire, Somerset, and part of Sussex are as Celtic as Perthshire and North Munster, that Cheshire, Shropshire, Herefordshire, Monmouthshire, Gloucestershire, Devon, Dorset, Northamptonshire, Huntingdonshire, and Bedfordshire are more so and equal to North Wales and Lineshire, while Buckinghamshire and Hertfordshire exceed even the degree and are on a level and are on a level with South Wales and Ulster. It is then for an Anglo-Celtic, not an Anglo-Saxon, people that this account of the early history of the religion and the mythical and romantic literature of the Celtic race is written. It is hoped that this people will find in it things. It is hoped that people will find in it things worthy to be remembered as contributions to the general stock of European culture, but worthy above all to be borne in mind by those who have inherited more than have any other living people of the blood, the instincts, and the genius of the Celt. In reference to the name Freeman, Mr. Nicholson adds, no one was more intensely English in the sympathies than the great historian of that name, and probably no one would have more strenuously resisted the suggestion that he might be of Welsh descent, and yet I have met his close physical counterpart in a Welsh farmer named Evans, living within a few minutes of Pulhele. And there's going to be some things I don't quite pronounce right, but the wailing and lamenting began even louder than before. So we have 8 main sections and 4 other sections. However much I share of any of these is, of course, up to me. But Celt proper is a reference to the German-Austrian tribes that spread their way west. So regard that when you look at that. So, but it's not quite Teutonic, because if Teutonic kind of exclude, a little south into France and stuff, you do have some of what you would call Celtic people. So is Celt a race? Sort of. you do see enough differences when you head south a little bit into France and stuff that maybe you might want to exclude it as a race. But Caucasian, the Celts are definitely a Caucasian people. But obviously, in sharing this, culture matters, and whether we're looking at something that's interpreted through Christian mythology or not, these are important things to regard. And for the dark quarter, which the Celtic New Year starts at sunset. I mean, the old Celtic New Year would start at the cross quarter night, so that's Thursday the 7th. The nearest sunset would be that sunset on the 7th. Okay.